Well, it's nearly 30 years ago when the treasurer of the SWI in Orkney retired. I was asked if I would take on the role of treasurer, and I said yes, and laughed and said I won't do as long as Mrs. Muir had done. She had done 22 years, and I ended up doing nearly 30. I joined the first WRI in 1968, I think it was, and I've been a member ever since. We had nearly 1,000 members when first I joined. So we had 3 separate councillors, and I did 2 3-year stints on that. I was on the handcrafts and committee at one point, and I was on the executive committee in headquarters for another 3 years, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't quite make the 30. I decided that if I didn't go when I went, the precedent would have been changing in the following April, and I thought, no, because they'll just turn around and say, "Oh, stay on a bit yet." And so I was just short of 30 years as treasurer. There's been a lot of changes. There was a lot of changes while I was there, and there's been a lot since. And we all just have to embrace changes. We may not like some of them, but we just have to move with the times and keep the SWI flag flying best we can. When I took over, I went to see the treasurer, and she said, "Oh, it's dead easy." And she gave me an A5 sheet of paper with a few scribblings written on it as to what I had to do and when I had to do it, and passed me the books and said, "You'll get on fine," and that was it. So I was in at the deep end. But the knowledge I've gained over the years, I've been able to give back to Federation and institutes. It was always a case of, well, we'll ask Ruth, she'll probably know. I never felt obliged. I thoroughly enjoyed what I was doing, and I just like being involved in it. And I never really felt, I said a few times in the latter years, "Oh, it's time I gave up. You'll all be fed up with me." But there's always somebody who said, "Oh, stay on a bit longer." And I said, "Yeah, I will." And then it just came to a point, and I thought, if I don't give up shortly, I'll still be doing this when I'm no longer here. Yeah. So it took a couple of days for it to sink in that I had not only been nominated, but been into the last 3. It's not only an honour for me, it's an honour for Orkney.
Okay, so when COVID hit in March 2020, just after our own institute's 100th, obviously everything closed down. Institute-wise, we had to try and keep people informed and involved. So we had a buddy scheme. And then Pauline Burnett, who was then in communications in the magazine, went out of her way really to try and keep us all in contact, and started Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, and set up a daily touch point. It was quite obvious that there were going to be many people that would find that really difficult, people that hadn't ever done anything like that before. And I wasn't particularly digital. So I went to Google and sort of taught myself the workings of Zoom, and joined in these meetings and tried to help people get onto the meetings, which sometimes proved quite tricky. People that would come onto a meeting and didn't have any sound and couldn't hear us, and we couldn't hear them, all these things. But gradually people relaxed, became more confident, and we had daily meetings, which were fantastic really, because people were coming in from the islands and the highlands and people that had never done this thing before, and they just loved it. They just fell in love with it, and we still do it. Still do it now. So, yeah, really, really important thing that happened then. HQ approached me and said, well, how about if you would like to do some classes, you know, to help people to build their own skills so that they can take it to their institutes and federations. So we called it Zoom School. People would apply to HQ and they'd get my email address. We'd make contact that way, either by phone or mobile. And then I would have a Wednesday afternoon meet and then a Friday late afternoon or evening, so that anybody working could come in. And we had quite a lot of people that came to the Zoom school. Even one lady who was given a device for her 85th birthday. You know, she'd never done anything before. But gradually, you know, we overcame little hiccups and things, and she was able to join in and listen to all the meetings, and went on to listen to lots of the things that was provided by Pauline and HQ in you know, after COVID. And it's Zoom is just something that's become part and parcel of the SWI. And it's really great. Yeah. I took two for ladies in my institute. One was a nearly 90-year-old lady, and another one was a lady who worked with computers at her work, but had nothing, absolutely nothing in her home at all to be in contact digitally. So we had a group of digital champions throughout Scotland, and you know, one of the ladies came to me. I went to another lady's house and worked, you know, and it was small steps for her, because you can't expect somebody of that age to suddenly be completely overtaken by it. But she was able to sign into an email. She got an email. She was able to write to family on email and read their emails. She was able to go onto the SWI television channel and listen to some of the things, which she really, really enjoyed. And looking at YouTube, and even the thought that she could just type in a word on Google and get pictures and photos, you know, they opened up a whole new world to her. And the other lady, you know, says to me, don't drop dead, but this is me emailing you. I think I've got within me this this quest to for other people to achieve something. You know, teaching children, you know, sometimes they find things so difficult, and then they take a little tiny step, and you think, wow, they're able to do that now. And it's the same with, you know, whether it's teaching someone how to bowl, or how to make a simple bit of patchwork, or how to, you know, how to Google something, or how to, you know, how to be able to join into a Zoom meeting or anything. You know, that the pleasure I get is in the pleasure they get from, you know, sort of taking on this new quest of being able to succeed. It's you know, helping people is, you get more pleasure from somebody else from the result they get. You just get pleasure from helping people. It's just part and parcel of me.
Well, I haven't actually been a member that long. I've only been a member about 10, maybe 10 years, I think. I think that's maybe my biggest regret, that I didn't join before I did, because it's great fun, but nobody realises on the outside how great fun it is once you're there. But I mean, Granny was a rural member, and Mum was a rural member as well. So I mean, I knew all about it, and maybe that's why I didn't join. So I've been secretary for 6 years, so I'm up for election this November. I'm not secretarial admin trained. I mean, everything has had to be learned. I mean, I could work the computer, but minutes, I still hate minutes, but no, I think everybody hates minutes. So I've just had to learn on the job. I've volunteered to do another 3 years. That'll be my last 3 years as secretary. So they have to vote for me. But if they've got anybody else, I've told them that they can put forward anybody they like. I won't complain. Well, I think I have a bit of a disability in that I'm a perfectionist, so which is not as good as it sounds, because I like to have everything just right. If you're organised, things just run smoothly. I mean, really, if you would see me before a show, I'm sitting here just thinking it's going to be carnage, but it always works. So I don't know, it just seems to happen. I haven't got a magic wand, honestly. Well, I think because I'm late to being a member, and just discovering the friendship and the absolute hoot that you can have being a member of SWI. I just think, I mean, I don't like to push it too hard, but I just think folk have a preconceived idea that we are very snooty. We've got tweedy skirts on and cardigans and pearls. It's not like that. And I think the more people that you can spread it to, and if you can let folks see what fun and friendship there is out there, hopefully it'll bring in new members, and they can enjoy it just as much as everybody else. But I think if you're willing to work at it, I think you can make super institutes out there, brilliant institutes, and that feeds into the federation, and you can have great fun. You're sort of going, let's go, let's try this, and they're maybe sitting there going, oh, she's off on one again. And I do say sometimes, can I have this I really should just go sometimes, because I have this weird ideas that pop into my head and think, oh, we'll give that a go. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but if you didn't try, you're going to find out. Craft, bake. I think my crafting has taken a bit of a back seat, so I'd like to get. Well, they're not even UFOs. They're never started foes. So I would get more time to craft. I like to go undercover. I'm a bit like to be stealth mode. I'm like Harry Potter and his cloak of invisibility. Just let me get on with things. I'm quite happy as long as everybody else is happy.
I mean, I'm lost for words really. It's just such an honour. Thank you to everybody that nominated me and all the wonderful things they said about me. Yeah, I'm honoured.